Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wingcat Sports. Today, we're going to talk about some NHL trade rumors around the Red Wings, who they might get this offseason in trades. We'll start first with Toronto, right? Toronto, they just fired their GM. Well, he resigned, right? He's no longer with the team. So there's a good chance some shaking up's going to happen over there in Toronto. The one that I saw was mostly connected with us was William Nylander. Now he scored 40 goals this year, had back-to-back 80-point seasons, so that would not be bad. I think that would help our offense out a lot. Of course, the other two young guys, Matthews, Marner, they might require a little bit more in a trade, though.
Right. I mean, you score 40 goals because you have Austin Matthews there on your as your center. So that's a big thing. I we need scoring. We need someone who can put the puck in the net, and we need physical players. I don't know, is Nylander much of a physical player?
No. He's
No, he's
skinny.
pretty much
He's a
a
skinny guy.
softy.
He's going to
That's what I
be
thought.
he's going to be mostly your point getter and scorer. He might throw a check here and there, but I don't think he's that tough of a guy. Neither would Matthews or Marner. I mean,
Right.
they're all goal scorers. They're all young. They're not really going to get in people's faces as much. Out of the three, I always liked Marner. I don't know why. I like Marner. It will require some draft picks and potentially some young guys being traded their way. It all depends on what young guy you're willing to give up.
Right. I mean, Austin Matthews would be the guy I would like from out of that group. Um, it would require quite a bit to get him, though. What are you willing to give up? Somebody was mentioning something like Mo Sider and two number ones. Um, you gotta you gotta shake things up. We're at a point now where um, all of our teams, but the Wings, Eiserman, you need to shake it up. We need something big to happen in this off season. And if we have to, I would be all for that. I mean, Austin Matthews is a legit, he's a great player. He's below, just below people like Connor McDavid. Um, so I would certainly, that would give us a great 1-2 punch up the middle. Um, I'd rather, like many people are saying, give up Raymond than give up
Yeah,
Cedar.
don't give up your defense. I could deal with Raymond as long as you're going to re-sign Matthews, Marner, Nylander, whoever you trade.
Right.
But
You
I don't
have to
want to give
resign.
up. I don't want to give up any defensemen. Our young defensemen are going to be what's going to carry us through the future. Um, there was a guy from Ottawa that we are connected with, Alex Renekad. He had 27 goals and 66 points last year. He's had two 40-goal seasons twice with Chicago, but he does have 1 year left. So again, another guy you would have to re-sign after that. That would add some offense and potentially some more offensive upside to it, right? With having the chance to score 40 goals. So that doesn't seem like a bad take from Ottawa. But talking for both Toronto and Ottawa, would they trade with us inside the division?
Right. Right. Probably not. And I wouldn't give up nearly as much for DeBrincat. I mean, he's another softy, but puts the puck in the net. Not as frequently as Marner or Matthews. Um, I mean, it depends on what they'd want for him. I might give up one of our
You might
number
get
ones.
you might get a couple draft have to trade a couple draft picks, but that's it. I don't think you'd be trading any players away with that trade. Another guy out of Winnipeg, Mark Scheifele. If you remember, that was when Montreal went to the Cup and he completely laid out that one guy on the empty net goal, right there. But he doesn't have great defense, but he is a 40-goal scorer. You probably won't get Connor, Ellers, Dubois, or Wheeler out of Winnipeg.
I'd love to get Connor.
So
That would be nice.
from what I looked at, they said it wasn't likely. I mean, you might be able to make a trade package for one of them, but they said it wasn't likely. Your likely chances to get potentially Scheifele out of Winnipeg if you're going to trade with Winnipeg.
Right. I like it. I mean, I would. He's physical, so I'm all for that. I think they need to get tougher, and they need to. And at the same time, I think if they do get tougher, they're going to get dirtier goals. They're going to score more. I think the players they got, Berggren and Raymond, are both going to get better and put more goals in the net. So I think we're improving from internally too. We don't have to look totally to the outside. I just want a couple pieces. Get more physical. So, I mean, as far as trading goes, I mean, Boston's going to be another team dumping a lot of players.
Potentially, yes.
Get a
No,
little better on our, but I think, like I said, acquiring, they need to make a big move, and I mean, it's easier said than done. But we have two number ones in the first round, so I
Yeah,
would like to see them do something with that.
yeah.
Use it
Uh,
on a player instead of drafting them. I would like that.
and then next guy that I have on the list from what I was looking up, uh, out of Calgary, right? Potentially making a trade with Calgary. There's a couple I have on here with Calgary. First one is for Elias Lindholm. He's has upside probably. He has 1 year left. He had 64 points last year.
Mm-hmm.
He has a chance to be better offensively. I just don't know how much. You probably won't have to give up too much to get him, and he might have some upside this year. But right with 1 year left, you have to hope you might resign him if he does well instead of just leaving.
Well, right. Hey, with any of these guys, I think if you're going to trade away pieces to get them, you're going to want to sign them before the deal is done. So um, we'll see. Like I said, I think that's another guy. I don't think we need to make any of these. We have enough players like that on the team right now. So I want to make a big splash.
Yeah.
I want to get a guy that we don't have. I like our forwards. We're going to get Soderblom is coming back up next year. I think he's only going to get better. Rasmussen, he was hurt a lot. He's going to get better. I just think they're going to get better solely by just getting some of these pieces back. But what they don't have is that elite player. They need. I'd love to see them get at least one elite forward and one elite defenseman, if that's possible.
Yeah.
That might be asking too much.
Yeah. Another guy out of Arizona, he is a good possibility. Nick Schmaltz. He has 3 years left on his deal. He has about a $5.85 million cap hit. He averaged a point per game last year.
Yeah.
So that's some offensive prowess coming out of that guy. I really don't. Again, it doesn't seem like you probably would end up giving too much for him. Right? I haven't heard too much about him. But I mean, if it's anything to help the offense, it's not
Right.
bad.
Right.
Next guy out of Vancouver, again, going along with what we kind of been with most of the trades. Brock Rosé out of Vancouver, right? 2 years, $6.65 million left. Maybe an easy trade for us to make. Again, not a lot to give up. He's a younger guy, right? I don't know how much he would help the team as he's basically around everyone else we have. Next guy also out of Vancouver, Connor Garland. He has 3 years left, about $5 million cap hit. He had 20 goals, but he's pretty small, right? I don't think he would fit your criteria of joining the team. Guy out of Tampa, Ross Colton. He's 27, but he might only be a third liner. So
Right.
more or less trying to get a little bit more age. We are a very young team. More out of Calgary, right? There was one trade I saw that had Dan Ladar and Chris Tanevi. Basically, we get a backup goaltender out of that deal and a decent defenseman, right? Because we are in need of another defenseman on the team. But you probably would give us some picks and prospects because it's two players. With that goaltender situation in Calgary. The other trade that they said we might do is go get Jacob Markstrom from Calgary because they have a goaltender prospect coming up, and that would give us a better goalie to help out Husso.
How old is Markstrom right now?
I think he's in his mid to upper 20s.
Yeah,
he is older.
He was a pretty damn good goalie.
He was doing good in Vancouver. Signed a deal with Calgary. He hasn't been as good in Calgary, I don't think. That's why he's kind of getting pushed out. But he would not be a bad backup. Next guy, right? You talked about trying to get him, Swayman. The only problem with Swayman, it would cost a lot to get him. He is a restricted free agent. He's going to cost a lot of trade value.
I mean, he benefited a lot from playing on Boston.
And that's just what you got to think. They might not get rid of him this year because, again, restricted free agent. They might not have to give him as much money. I believe he still is on contract for next year.
Yeah,
But
I'd stay away from him. He's not. I don't think he's any better than Huso, despite his record. He played on an amazing team, so I think that he benefited a great deal from that.
the last three guys that got on the list, there wasn't much about them. We got Sean Jersey from LA, right? The only need from that is that he's a right-handed defenseman. And then Colton Parriacchio and Jeff Petrie, right? But they probably want younger players.
Yeah.
So out of all the lists, I mostly see you probably going after the Toronto guys. Just to see. I doubt Toronto would trade with us though. Maybe getting the guy from Ottawa, but again, would they even trade with us? After that, it's kind of iffy on what the trade's going to be. Maybe they'll surprise us and it's no one I talked about, but I really don't know what Irishman's going to do this offseason. It's kind of a question mark on what will happen.
Right. Well, yeah, I just think, like I said, I'm looking for at least one really impact signing. Up to this point, he's made a lot of decent signings. You're not going to hit on every one, but I'm impressed with what he did last year. They did improve, but just got to keep going, and you have eventually somebody has to, just like you said, a 40-goal scorer. You almost have to have one of those. You have to have one of our man. We got to get a Kachuk on our team. Somebody like that. Somebody who's really going to carry us on his back at times.
Try to get in people's faces.
Right.
Upset them.
People's faces.
That's why I want to get a little bit more aggressive. Add a couple pieces that are more aggressive. No, I don't think really anybody, but maybe Scheifele on this list would be more aggressive, but he doesn't usually have a good defense.
Okay.
He's not good defensively, so I don't know how that is going to go. But besides that, right, we're going to go for probably goal scorers if we're going to trade for anybody. No one. That's going to be amazing.
Right.
But
okay, sounds good.
With that being said, right, like, comment, subscribe. We do want to hear from you in the comments. Until next time,
Go
see
Red
everybody
Wings.
soon.